This was like walking into a room. I've had this conversation with other people. We are about to dive into something I think is going to be awesome. Before we get started, do me a favor and please go like and subscribe. Those of you who have been doing that over the last few days, thank you so much. It means a lot. I'm loving the growing community. It's pretty awesome. We are listening and watching Hi Ren. Now, when y'all found out that I was a crisis counselor and I used to do that for about 13 years, you started commenting that I need to watch this song and listen to this song. And the reason why I hadn't done it yet was because a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, a while back, somebody sent me a clip of this song. It was about 15 or 30 seconds long. And so I thought that it wouldn't be fair for me to do a react because I thought I had seen the song, but I thought it was a viral clip. I didn't know it was a full song. So this actually will end up being a first time watch. For one, the video that was sent to me is not this. He was like outside. So this is new. I think he was outside. So this is new. I'm pretty intrigued. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in.
Hi there, Ran. It's been a little while. Did you miss me? You thought you buried me, didn't you? Risky. Cause I always come back. Deep down you know that. Deep down you know I'm always in periphery. Ran, are you pleased to see me? It's been weeks since we spoke, bro. I know you need me. You're the sheep, I'm the shepherd. Not your place to lead me. Not your place to be biting off the hand that feeds me. Hi, Ran. I've been taking some time to be distant. I've been taking some time to be still. I've been taking some time to be by myself since my therapist told me I'm ill. And I've been making some progress lately, and I've learned some new coping skills. So I haven't really needed you much, man. I think we need to just step back and chill. Ren, you sound more insane than I do. You think that those doctors are really there to guide you? Been through this a million times. Your civilian mind is so perfect to always being lied to. Okay, take another pill, boy. Drown yourself in the sound of white noise. Follow this 10-step program, rejoice. All your problems will be gone. Fucking dumb boy. Nah, mate, this time is different, man. Trust me. I feel like things might be falling in place, and my music's been kinda doing bits too. Like I actually might do something great. And when I'm gone, maybe I'll be remembered for doing something special with myself. That's why I don't think that we should talk, man. Cause when you're with me, it never seems to help. You think that you can amputate me? I am you, you are me, you are I am we are one. Split in two, that makes one. So you see, you gotta kill you if you wanna kill me. I'm not leftover dinner, I'm not scraps on the side. Oh, your music is thriving, delusional guy. Where's your top 10 hit? Where's your interview with Oprah? Wow, your Grammys ran nowhere. Yeah, but my music's not commercial like that. I never chase numbers, statistics or stats. I never write hooks for the radio, they never even play me, so why would I concern myself with that? But my music is really connecting, and the people who find it respect it. And for me that's enough, cause this life's been tough, so it gives me a purpose I can rest in.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there and I'll kind of catch back up with that. So, well past what I had seen so far. So we're into some new stuff for me that I hadn't seen. And the back and forth here is pretty powerful. And I think one thing I have learned in, 13 years of crisis counseling, the way that people have self-doubt that creeps in like this. And if you want, my form of crisis counseling that I was in was intervention strategies. So I did about 2,000 what's called crisis calls. I don't know what they call them all over the world. In America, it's crisis calls. And people would call either a hotline, or sometimes law enforcement used to call me before they had crisis intervention teams. And I would go into a room if somebody had like a weapon and they were going to harm themselves, and I would go in and have to negotiate with them, essentially to buy their life back. And when I'm in the room with them, often I'm dealing with this. Like this is going on. Now, it's not playing out like this necessarily where you see the actual two characters, but the way I describe it to people, because I teach, sometimes I go to universities and schools and I teach staff my intervention strategy model in the communication work that I do for this negotiation in a crisis situation. And I teach it to them very similar to what this song is showing. I don't talk to them about going in and trying to save a life. Because if you think there's one person in the room when you go in there during a crisis call, you're going to lose. There's two, at least. There's the person who is hurting, and then there is the person that is holding that person hostage. And you're seeing it in this video. So this video speaks to me already. And I would have to teach people how to negotiate with this second one, the one that we don't like, the one that is holding him hostage. You're trying to get him to let the other one go. So far, very powerful.
And just ran, your music is so self-centered. No one wants to hear another song about how much you hate yourself. Trust me. You should be so lucky, having me inside you to guide you, remind you to manage expectations, provide you perspective. That thing you neglected, I get it. You wanna be a big deal, next Jimi Hendrix, forget it.
Man, it's not like that.
Man, it's just like that, I'm inside you, you twat.
No, it's not, man, you're wrong. When I write, I belong.
Let me break the fourth wall by acknowledging this song. Ren sits down, has a stroke of genius. He wants to write a song that was not done previous. A battle with the subconscious, Eminem did it.
Played on guitar.
Plan B did it.
Man, you're not original, you criminal rip-off artist. The pinnacle of your success is stealing other people's material.
Ren, mate, we've heard it all before.
She sells seashells on the seashore. Fuck you, I don't need you, I don't need to hear this. Cause I'm fine by myself, I'm a genius. And I will be great, and I will make waves, and I'll shake up the whole world beneath us.
That's right, speak your truth, your fucking God complex leaks out of you. It's refreshing to actually hear you say it instead of downplay it.
He's talented. He's really talented. And on multiple levels, he mentions the fourth wall break, which is a cinema thing. I would not doubt if he was involved in how this played out, because there's certain tropes and there's certain things that happen in cinema that we are conditioned to believe. And when lights flicker, when his alternate self speaks, that is something in cinema we're conditioned to believe ghosts are in the room. And so he's doing that on purpose. The cinematographer and the director probably have a lot to say in that. But the fact that he in his song talks about fourth wall break means that he understands, at least on some scale, cinema. And then he talks about Hendrix, and he's very self-aware. I love his self-awareness, and I love his ability to use multiple mediums, being cinema as well as music. His self-awareness is top notch and just absolute talent. Like this is catchy too. I'm enjoying it. So let's keep going.
That's right, speak your truth, your fucking God complex leaks out of you. It's refreshing to actually hear you say it instead of downplay it.
Music is all about the creative process, and if people can find something to relate to within that, then that's just a bonus.
Fuck you, I'ma fucking kill you, Ren.
Well, fucking kill me then, let's fucking have you, Ren.
I'ma do it, watch me prove it. Who are you to doubt my music? Cause I call the shots, I choose if you die. Yeah, I call the shots and so I choose who survives. I'll tie you up in knots when I lock you inside.
Newsflash, I was created at the dawn of creation. I am temptation. I am the snake in Eden. I am the reason for treason, beheading all kings. I am sin, with no rhyme or reason. Son of the morning, Lucifer, Antichrist, father of lies. Mephistophelies, truth in a blender, deceitful pretender, the banished avenger, the righteous surrender. When standing in front of my solar eclipse, my name is stitched to your lips. So you see, I won't bow to the will of a mortal, feeble and normal. You wanna kill me? I'm eternal immortal. I live in every decision that catalyzes chaos, that causes division. I live inside death, the beginning of ends. I am you, you are me, I am you, Ren.
Who is this guy? He is talent. Like, I that's really hard to do. I'm telling y'all, that is really hard to do. I can't. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna give this one a little bit longer now. I keep stopping, but like he just that blows me away what he just did there. For one, a third character entered. It seemed like sort of a demonic character is what he was trying to portray. So the lights got even more jittery. You see how they did that? That's kind of neat how they do that. So yeah, wow. Let's keep going. I'm going to dissect some of what he's saying later too. There's some things in there that he talked about I want to talk about here in a little bit, but I want to get through this song because it's a really long video.
Hi, Ren. I've been taking some time to be distant. I've been taking some time to be still. I've been taking some time to be by myself, and I've spent half my life ill. But just as sure as the tide starts turning, just as sure as the night has dawned, just as sure as the rainfall soon runs dry when you stand in an eye of a storm. I was made to be tested and twisted. I was made to be broken and beat. I was made by his hand, it's all part of his plan that I stand on my own 2 feet. And you know me, my will is eternal. And you know me, you've met me before. Face to face with a beast, I will rise from the east and I'll settle on the ocean floor. And I go by many names also. Some people know me as hope. Some people know me as the voice that you hear when you loosen the noose on the rope. And you know how I know that I'll prosper? 'Cause I stand here beside you today. I have stood in the flames that cremated my brain, and I didn't once flinch or shake. So care of the man I've become when I sing from the top of my lungs, that I won't retire, I'll stand in your fire, inspire that me to be strong. And when I am gone I will rise in the music that I left behind. Ferocious, persistent, immortal like you, we're a coin minted different sides. When I was 17 years old, I shouted out into an empty room, into a blank canvas, that I would defeat the forces of evil. And for the next 10 years of my life, I suffered the consequences, with autoimmunity, illness, and psychosis. As I got older, I realized there were no real winners and there were no real losers in psychological warfare, but there were victims and there were students. It wasn't David versus Goliath. It was a pendulum, eternally swaying from the dark to the light. And the more intensely that the light shone, the darker the shadow it cast. It was never really a battle for me to win. It was an eternal dance. And like a dance, the more rigid I became, the harder it got. The more I cursed my clumsy footsteps, the more I struggled. So I got older, and I learned to relax, and I learned to soften, and that dance got easier. It is this eternal dance that separates human beings from angels, from demons, from gods. And I must not forget, we must not forget, that we are human beings.
All right, so how dark do y'all want to get? Because he said a lot there. Um, I'll walk through kind of some. I did the hand motion like that was because the cinematographer at that point decided to go with a handheld as he stood, showing the uncertainty of his footsteps. That's kind of what I feel like that's what the cinematographer is looking for there. He wants to show you that he's standing in a newness and give you that uncertain feeling where it's shaky, but he's doing it. And that's how it feels sometimes when we step into some things. And then he talked about another thing that was kind of got to me a little bit. Yes, I was a crisis counselor for 13 years, but I didn't come into mental health the way normally you might think. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps infantry, and I lost many, many friends. And I've talked about this in other videos. And for about 7 years, I struggled with horrible depression. And ultimately, about 7 years after I got out of the Marine Corps, I hung myself in my garage. And I was found by a family member shortly after, and I was taken to the hospital, and there was work on my neck. It's actually the reason why I grew a beard many years ago, to cover the marks on my neck. And I have permanent neck damage. I have permanent eyesight damage from the pressure. And the form of hanging, it was very rare. And so I was in the hospital, was able to speak with a lot of scientists and researchers because they wanted to know how I was able to survive. And from that's what thrust me into mental health. Later on, I would grow to learn more about these scientists and some of their theories. And that's why I still, to this day, still work in it. I won't go too deep into that. I do have a book about it. If you want to go look at that, go look me up on Amazon. I do have a book where I talk about that instance. Let's not do that in this video, though. If you want to know more, let's go to the book. For this, let's talk about this song and what this artist is trying to do. And then he talks about the pendulum and how the more rigid he was, the harder the shadow would be. And that's very true. Some of y'all wonder why I haven't heard a lot of music. It's not just music. It's music and it's movies. And it's a joke amongst my friends that they'll talk about a movie knowing I haven't seen it. I'm very intentional with not listening to music and certain things, especially movies, because of what I just talked about with my depression after the Marine Corps. I'm susceptible. I know that I am susceptible to find my way into emotion powerful enough that I went into a garage and hung myself. And I know how easy it is to get there. And then later on, as a counselor, meeting with people, I can't tell you how many times I met with somebody who a lot of their downfall happened because they read a certain book and they took on the personality of a character in there and they couldn't get out of it. You look at actors. I work with actors now. One of the reasons why I'm in film now is because I can understand how a method actor can get into a character and get out of it. And I want to work with them in a healthy manner to show them, hey, here's how we get in and out of this character safely. I think about Heath Ledger after he did the Joker and how it was very tough for him to get. He was a method actor in a I forget the school he was. I think he might have been an Adler school for method acting, but it was very hard for him to get out of the character. I would walk into a room in a crisis call and these people were playing characters that they had seen in movies. They didn't know they were doing it, but they were taking on personalities that weren't them. Very similar to this. It was like walking into a room. I've had this conversation with other people. And so one of the reasons why I don't listen to a lot of music is because of my susceptibility to the emotion that can come from it. That's why when I told you guys, I have to know what the artist's intention is. And so I haven't heard a lot of songs. I haven't seen a lot of movies. And you're going to get that from me a lot. And it's intentional, 100%. And then we go to this last part where he begins to speak. And I don't want you to forget that he did that. It's very hard to do. It's very hard to be that vulnerable and honest. And actually, what he's saying speaks volumes. The harder you fight, the more there is backlash and finding peace. I work in a community that everybody says you have to be happy. Be happy, be happy. And happiness is actually a lot different than peace. I would prefer that you seek peace because happiness has a backlash. You do have a pendulum. So this song is like basically saying a lot of things I have said in front of universities. I talk about it in my book. If you do end up getting my book, go. I say, why seek happiness when you could seek peace? And this is what he says right here. So this kind of became an anthem for me of sorts. I love the cinematography. I love the short side lighting. They're using short side, meaning that instead of I have this light here, the light would be back here, and then you would have a shadow on my face and the light coming across. They do that to show you tension, the lights flickering. Everything about this is powerful. Everything about this speaks volumes to me. I want to dissect more what he says. He talked about the God complex earlier. That's true too. A lot of times when you get into mental health and counseling, you go through a phase where you have a God complex. I went through it. I hosted a TV show years ago, and if you ever see some of the work from that, I was dead middle of my God complex, where I thought that I could do anything, like I was the savior of anybody I walked into a room with. And it's a very dangerous time, and you have to get out of it. You will fall for it at some point, but you have to get out of it. And a lot of people stay in that, and you'll know them. You'll know who they are, because it becomes their identity, and they eventually burn out. And actually, a lot of counselors end up becoming, there's a lot of them that actually commit suicide sometimes. So just know that when he says God complex, that's true. When he's wrestling with the fact that he wants to help people, and his inner doubts say, that's just your God complex, that's a very real thing. You have to work out of it at some point. I had to at some point. Mine was, I had a gentleman that I'd done a crisis call with successfully. We got through it successfully, but I wasn't doing aftercare at the time. It wasn't my job to do aftercare. I would send them to somebody else. And he started trauma bonding with a friend of his after his crisis call. And about 3 months after our successful crisis call, he did indeed, I got a call from the family, and he committed suicide eventually. And it was also that God complex took a little hit. And then they called me about 6 weeks later, and the kid, his friend that he was trauma bonding with, committed suicide as well. And that shattered my God complex. All of a sudden, I was no longer untouchable. My words did not solve the human race or the human condition. I wasn't as powerful as I thought. And it made me rethink what I was doing and how I was doing it. So that God complex scenario is very real. Everything about this video and song it strikes a chord with me. I'm so glad I watched it. I wish I would have seen it sooner. I know that I had a friend trying to show me this video a while back, and I guess he just showed me that first part, but that was nothing compared to the rest of the video. I was not prepared for where we went. I don't counsel anymore. And so I don't want to get in this thing where we're in the comments and I'm going to work with you on anything, because that's just a dangerous game that we can play. But I will say that I know there's two things I want to say before we get out of here. All of you probably have that voice. Maybe it gets so strong that it does become a different identity like that. And it's very difficult to defeat those voices. I use a lot of work from Carl Rogers, Dr. Dan Siegel, UCLA. I use Name It, Tame It from Dr. Dan Siegel, UCLA. I use some Carl Rogers theories. I work with Dr. David Robertson. He's the scientist I work with day in, day out to this day. And he has like epistemic rigidity and the adversity nexus. So look those up. Look up adversity nexus from Dr. David Robertson, and it's very powerful. It's published in a few journals. And that's what helps me get through a lot now. But a lot of y'all are going to have these voices, and I would encourage you to look into a safe way to find peace. Not happiness, not anger, but peace. Because as he said, it is a pendulum that's going to come back. So if you're seeking the highs, you will find the lows. But if you're seeking peace, it is that calm in the center. And I got to meet this guy. I'm so glad he said that because I wish people would understand that because in my community, everybody is always find happiness and guys, he said it best. If you find that happiness, you're gonna swing back at some point. Find peace, And then the last part is I'm not going to get into counseling, but I would say go check out Dr. David Robertson's adversity nexus theory. I do a podcast with him every once in a while where we talk about it. It's called Auxesis. If you go to that, he does talk about it in there. But it's an actual published. It's published in journals, so you can go check it out. If you can even cite it in college coursework. So it's an actual thing you can cite in college coursework. You can do work with it. So it's got abstracts and all that. He's a great guy. He's actually my mentor. But this is, uh, hmm. Thank y'all for telling me about this song. I'm gonna do some digging into him a little bit more. I want to know more about his story. If you know more about his story, feel free to tell me. It helps me kind of find things faster. If you just say, "Hey, go look at this," or because otherwise I'm gonna listen to like 100 different videos, but you might know already. Like, no, you have to go to this one. This will tell you more about him. If you have any of that, let me know. I really want to learn more about him. Um, there's something there, and shoot, I'd love to meet him actually. If I get out that way, I'm gonna do some digging and some soul searching here. That was a lot to take in, and that was a lot for. I don't like to dig up some of my stuff in the past because I've resolved a lot of it. When I get caught off guard, again, why I don't listen to a lot of music because I'm very susceptible. I know that I'm susceptible to emotions. All right, let's cut it there. Thank you guys. Join me on another one here soon. Um, I swear I'm gonna listen to a more upbeat song one of these days. Love y'all.